saying that today we'll be making a herby fish with wilted greens and mushrooms. Now, the crazy thing about this is I thought about the last few recipes that we had been making, and I was like, we're falling into spring, which is also a happy spring to you. I wanted to have something that was a little bit light but still would fill you up at the same time. And then we're going to show a few variations, just because it's Wild Wednesday, how we can take these same ingredients and mix it up just a little bit. So as far as my ingredients go, I have mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, baby bellas. If you know anything about mushrooms, these are nothing but baby portobello mushrooms. So that's where the name baby bella come from. And cremini is just another name for it. It's almost like something simple as people from up north say pop, and down south we say soda. That's the only real difference with it. I have onions, we have Roman tomatoes. You could pick your favorite tomato, whether it's a beefsteak tomato, a 4x4, heirloom tomato, cherry, grape tomatoes. It doesn't matter. It's all on your preference. Back to the onion. This right here is a Spanish onion. You can use Vidalias, you can use white onions, purple onions. All of them are going to work great in this recipe. We have some fresh herbs here. We're going to use actually dry and fresh herbs in this recipe. I have some parsley here, a little dill that we're just going to play with just because I had some. I have some garlic here whole. I kept it whole so I can show you exactly how to actually break it down the easiest way. And then here I have some baby kale. Now the thing is, you can use regular kale, but I prefer using baby kale for the simple fact that mature kale a lot of times might be a little bit more sharp and I guess tougher than baby kale is. Baby kale a lot of times is tenderer and still full of a lot of flavor and nutritional values. Also, I have a piece of fish here. This fish here is actually, I've already pat it dry just to make sure all the moisture is coming out of it. This is actually branzino. Branzino is just a Mediterranean type of sea bass that we're going to actually use today, but you can use your favorite whitefish. And I know somebody on there is going to say, hey, can I sub it out for salmon? It is your world. You make it the way you like it. Now, with this recipe, remember that a recipe is nothing but a blueprint. So with that being said, if you see anything in it that you need to modify, I don't like mushrooms or I'm allergic to tomatoes, please just flip it out however you need to, and we're going to get started, okay? So, first thing we need to do is go ahead and break down our onions, tomatoes, and our mushrooms. So we're going to show, and the garlic. We're going to show a few different ways of doing this just because I want y'all to have some options out here. So we're going to start off with the onion. Alright? When we're cutting the onion, what we always do is keep the back end on. So this is the way the onion normally is. You keep that back end on. That way, this is going to actually hold everything in place until we're ready to cut it. So, I'm going to cut the top off. And then from now, I'm going to cut it straight in half. Now, when it comes down to the onion, I know a lot of times people say that the onions make you cry. Is there any little tricks that you can use to keep yourself from crying? My thing that I've found that works best is actually either chewing on some gum, chewing on some bread, because it's something about that that actually just take your mind and your eyes off of it, and it never waters up when that happens for me. So I'm going to show you two different ways of actually julienne. One way is going to actually go with the grains. The other one's going to go against the grains. So going with the grains, I'm going to actually take the butt end off. I'm going to turn it straight. And then I'm just going to go with the grains, keeping my knife at a little bit of an angle just to go with it. And I'm just going to follow the grains on there. This is nothing but a type of julienne. As you see, what I'm doing also is I'm keeping my knuckles back, or my fingers back. We do this thing in the culinary field that we call a bear claw, where we take our hand, push it back like this, so that way when the knife hits it, it just slides on the knuckle instead of you sitting here trying to chop it off. So once I get halfway through, turn it this way so the camera can see it. I'm gonna flip it like that, so I can keep the support that I had before, and just do it again. Just like that. Put this in something just to get it out of the way. Now, the other way, we're going to keep the butt on this time, and instead of going with the grains, we're going to go a little bit against the grains. See, we're keeping the butt on it. It kept everything together, but these are more like a half moon crescent shape. A lot of times you'll see these when you're getting like a sub sandwich or something like that. A lot of times in salads. Even when you get to the fried foods, a lot of times you'll see them like this. If it's going to be like a fried garnish, like fried onion strings, they'll cut them that way. All right? So we got our onions cut. All right, now let's go ahead with the garlic. Whole garlic. A lot of times you can find it like this. This right here was nothing, probably about 69 cents for the whole bulb. So if you can, just buy the whole bulb and then break it down yourself. That way it stays cheaper than buying it already peeled off, okay? So we're going to just take the whole thing, smash it just a little bit like that. All I did was the side of it, smash it down. We're going to do it again, but you see how everything just kind of broke down from there. I'm going to take one little piece of garlic. There we go. I was trying to find the biggest piece out of the bowl. Alright, so there's one piece here. Still has the skin on, everything like that. Everybody can see that. So all I'm going to do is the same thing again. Take the side of my knife. Break down just like that. And what will happen is the skin will come, or the peeling will come right off of it. So that was two times where we actually hit the garlic. Now the third time, this is how we're gonna go to the mince, because we're gonna have some minced garlic here. Same thing again. So I've already did two times. We already know what we're doing. Getting the backhand, back heel, bam, just like that, just like that. And then from that, all I'm going to do is same idea, keep my knuckles back, and we're just going to chop it up. Once I get it broken down a little bit to a rough chop, what I like to do is I do a boat motion or a rocking motion. I take the tip of my knife with my fingers and hold on to the handle, and all I'm doing is so I'm letting my right hand do most of the work, sliding everything back together, and all we're doing right now is just mincing it. The finer it goes, the finer of the mince it goes. The thing is, you can take it all the way down to, if you ever go in the store and see a puree, all it is just once it's go past being minced, and all the natural oil start coming out, and the water content, it'll make it into puree. But right here is a good spot to be at. Can they see that? Get a little closer. That's a mince for you, all right? Now, as a home chef, people, y'all should always keep all the skins and everything like that, because all the stuff can actually be thrown in a pot of water. Take all of the little butts, ends of your tomatoes, your onions, your celery, things like that. Put it with some water and let it boil. Let it go for about an hour or so, and you'll have some vegetable stock. Got some mushrooms. Now, there's plenty, hundreds of types of different mushrooms. So if you like, if you don't like mushrooms, please this part here. But there's a few different ways you can actually cut mushrooms. Now, some people don't like the stems, some people do. I'm a fan of all mushrooms. So I'm gonna show you a different way of cutting it. One way is actually just slicing it with the stem on. A lot of times, this is the way you'll see it if you have pizza or something like that. Another way is actually taking the stem off. Still the same idea.
Oh, Chef, I'm sorry to interrupt, but does anyone hear that vibrating sound? Or is it just me?
They get it vibrating. Is it gone?
It's gone.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if it's on my end and I can't hear you or like if anyone else is experiencing that sound. Okay, it's gone. We're good.
All right, so I took with stem on, without the stem. All right. Still have another way. We can actually just do these into quarters. If you want it to be more meatier feel to it, say for example, we're not gonna have any fish at all, and we're just gonna actually use the vegetables in it. You can cut the mushrooms a lot bigger, and it'll be more of a substitute for the meat. So these were just cubed up or diced into quarters. So now we got 3 different ways of doing mushrooms. Last but not least, actually I'm gonna cut 1 or 2 more. They can't hear me? How's that now? Can you hear me better now? No? Can they hear me? Everybody can hear me? Yes or no?
Can everyone hear him? I mean, I can hear you. Let's see.
Okay.
Wait, someone moved.
Hear me, correct? Yes.
Maybe speak a little bit louder. I feel
Speak a little louder. Is
yeah.
that better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So next we have the tomatoes. Tomatoes, we got 3 ways we can cut that. It's all on your presentation on what you're trying to get from it. Now we can do small dice, big dice. We can actually do slices with these. There's gonna be one more way to actually show you where it's gonna actually be a julienne. That's what we're gonna start with. So I'm gonna take the butt end off, cut it in half, cut it into quarters. Then what I'm gonna do is actually take my knife here. Is one person that can't hear me? Different person can't hear me. All right. Mute that. Can everybody hear me now?
One sounds better. This camera.
That's better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So we good now. Got it. All right, now, so back to it. So what I did was actually cut them to quarters, and then all this here, the seeds and everything, the pit, what I did was I actually just cut it out. So once again, what we're doing is just taking it here and just sliding my knife on it to take off the pitted area. Now from that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually julienne it. Same little rocking motion, but it's going to make me little strips. So we got strips here. With the other one, I'm going to take it, cut it in half again, and then I'm going to dice it. Now, if you want to actually just keep it whole in the sense of not de-seeding it, because that's all that we just did, you can always just keep it together. Cut it in half. I cut this one into thirds, but I kept the seeds in, and then just dicing the same way. Cool. All right, so everybody's still with me, right? All right, so let's get this in here. We'll mix these together.
Chef Reggie, I'm still getting people saying that they can't hear you clearly.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay. If anyone in the chat, can you let me know if you can hear him?
Hello, hello, hello.
Because on my end, I can hear you loud and clear. Someone's typing.
All right. Is everybody volume turned up?
Okay, I can hear clearly. Kimbla, Erica Johnson. Okay. Someone said I can hear now.
You can hear now. Hello, hello, hello.
Okay. Bridget said good to go.
Good to go.
She was having problems, but now it's good to go.
All right.
Okay. Majority saying they can hear.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
We're good. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. So we're just going to do a quick recap just in case if you missed anything. What we have done so far is I have shown a variation of each one of the ingredients that we use on how to cut it down. Started with the onions, we show one way of actually julienning it with the same lines as the onion itself. A lot of times, if you go to any restaurant, this is the way we actually cut them. So it's more like that. We have more of a half moon that you'll find a lot more times in sandwiches, or if you had like fried onion straws and things like that. We showed you how to mince garlic, where we actually took it from a whole bulb down to one single garlic pod, and then broke it down from there. Each time, all I did was take the side of my knife, take the heel of my hand, and just tap down like that to break it off. All right. As far as the mushrooms go, you can keep the stem on or off. If you're having a real portobello mushroom, you will need to remove the stem. But anything like a button mushroom or shiitake mushroom, you'll need to remove the stem. Button, creminis, portobellos, baby bellas, miyakis, things like that. If the stem is tender or soft, you can keep it on. All right. Then we had the tomatoes. I actually used a Roman tomato. What I did was I actually cut it in half the first time, then cut that into another half. So I had quarters. I actually took the side of my knife, slammed it like this to actually take the seeds out of it. That was just de-seeding the tomato. You do not have to do that, but I wanted to show you how you can actually make strips from it compared to actually just dicing it up. All right, so still good to go. Now from there, what I have here is just a combination of Mediterranean herbs. So this has actually a little bit of oregano. It has some mint, dried mint. It has rosemary, thyme, and then a little bit of sage as well. If you cannot find Mediterranean mix anywhere, or you do not want to mix your own, a little trick you can do is actually take a little bit of Italian seasoning, and it'll probably, it will actually do the same effect for you. Only difference is between Mediterranean seasoning and Italian seasoning is the addition of basil for the most part. All right. Now, the thing is, what I like to actually do is I actually like to grind it down just a tad bit for the simple fact of the rosemary and the thyme a lot of times have these sticks in them that once we start cooking, I don't want it to actually, when I eat it, I feel it or taste it or just chop down on a stick. So I have a little KitchenAid spice grinder here. This was nothing but maybe like $20, $30 at Walmart, Amazon, any place like that. All I'm going to do is just do a few little pulps. And so all I did was actually just broke it down just a tad bit, okay? So it wasn't no long sticks in it. It still has the character, and you can still see the different types of herbs in it as well compared to it being grinded down to a powder. All right, so we have everything. I also have lemon juice. I took some lemons. I took 2 lemons. Actually, this is probably about 4 lemons because we're going to do some extra stuff. And just cut them in half, squeeze them down. This is just, I just put on the side so I'm ready to go. Now, the thing is, this whole thing, everything set up, ready to cook, we call that mise en place. That means that we have everything in place. We're not worried about having to cut things once we start cooking. Once we start, we just go with it, all right? So I have my baby kale here. If you had mature kale or regular kale that you see in the stores that is really tough, all you do is just take the stem off and then chop it to your liking, all right? We're going to keep this whole like this. And it's going to cook pretty fast with it being a baby kale. So I'm going to take all my ingredients. While I'm grabbing everything, I'm actually just turned on my stove to preheat my pan. All right, now, so with this recipe, remember, it's only a blueprint, all right? So you make it how you like it, as long as we stay within being health conscious and things like that. I do not need to see a whole pan full of bacon fat in here or anything like that, all right? So right here we have this is a olive oil. It's not an extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil will actually be too thin, that the smoke point on it would be actually too low, which means that it will burn up real fast. Before you even put stuff in it, the oil will burn and it will give it a horrible taste, all right? So this is just a regular olive oil. The smoke point on this is higher. Each oil has a different smoke point. When you get into canola oils, corn oils, peanut oils, things like that, they're going to have a higher smoke point, which is great for sauteing, frying, roasting, and things like that. When you have extra virgin olive oil, those are great for salads and vinaigrettes, all right? So I'm letting my oil heat up just a tad. I am on medium heat. I'm going to actually turn it up to medium high just to get it started and then turn it back down to medium. What we're going to start off with is the the onions. Just gonna cook the onions to start it and have it translucent. From that, we're gonna go ahead and add our mushrooms and our garlic. It says in the recipe to add the tomatoes, the kale, and the garlic all at one time. But what I'm gonna do is do it a little bit different. With us using this baby kale, it's actually gonna take less time to actually wilter or cook down. All right. And we all know different ways of knowing if the heat, the oil is hot. I just put one in there so we know we're ready to go. All right, so we got our onions in. You can use a rubber spatula, a wooden spoon. I'm actually using tongs, but I'm actually using a rubber tip tongue. That way it doesn't scrape the pan or anything like that. And it still is gentle enough on it that it keeps the integrity of the onion itself. So I just spread it out just a little bit just to make sure that all of the surface is covered and everybody have enough room in there to dance around a little bit. So I'm gonna let this go for about another minute and a half. Then from that, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add my garlic in it. I'm gonna add my garlic now, but I'm gonna cook it for maybe about 30 seconds, if that. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want the fragrant smells and the aromatics of that garlic to start coming out and infusing into the oil before I start adding my mushrooms. But this process is one of those ones where you do kind of fast, for some fact that we all know we've all had that situation where we added the garlic to the pan, and then what happened? It burned. So as you see, I added my garlic. All I'm doing, just you see how I'm mixing it around just a little bit, just to make sure everything is then coated up real quick. From that, I'm gonna go ahead and add my mushrooms in. Now we could have used the sliced mushrooms in this one. I just wanted to have a little bit of a dimension and different, everything not to be uniform, more of a rustic look to it. So it got some big pieces, some little pieces. The onions I know are thinner, so that way everything contrasts to each other. Moving it around. All right. I turn this back down to medium. While that is working, I'm actually turning on my other pan here, which is going to be for my fish. I know we haven't talked about that fish yet, have we? Now, with the branzino, branzino is a great springtime fish. It's very light. A lot of times, if you see it in a lot of restaurants, it's actually still have the head on. I know a lot of people get scared by seeing eyeballs look at them while they eat the fish. But I'm a big fan of it. But I knew for this class here, I'll go ahead and take it off just to be on the safe side. So all I'm doing is just stirring it every so often just to make sure nothing's sticking. All right. So as far as the branzino go, I'm going to take a pinch of salt and pepper. Some of my dry herbs. And we're gonna go back to this. We're gonna add our kale now. Now, the thing is with the mushrooms, one thing I didn't mention to you with the mushrooms is mushrooms have a lot of dirt on them. It's not good to actually wash the mushrooms because mushrooms actually soak up a lot of water on its own. If you ever sauteed off mushrooms, you'll see a lot of liquid come off of it right off the bat. So what you do actually is just take a little paper towel and just wipe them off. Just wipe them off. As you see, I still haven't added my tomatoes. Tomatoes is one of those things that you're not really going to cook that hard. So I'm going to add that at the last minute, and I'm going to let everything around it actually heat them up. So I'm going to take a little bit of my herbs. Add to my kale. A splash of my lemon juice. And just because you're messing with Chef Reggie, I'm going to add just a little splash of the white wine in the deglaze the pan. That's just going to add another little depth of flavor to it. But we're going to sit here and cook out some of that alcohol that was in it. So no, nobody's getting drunk. And you see how fast that wilted? So from there, I'm going to turn it off. Add my tomatoes. I'm going to do one mix on it. I'm going to push it to the side. We're done with that. So now I have my pan getting hot. Once again, a little olive oil. I always like to use a pan larger than what I'm cooking with to make sure that it's enough room for everybody to play in the pan. You know, you not want to have a smaller pan or a tight pan for the simple fact that a lot of times if there's not enough room for the protein to breathe, what will happen is it will not brown and it'll actually start sweating, which means it will release a lot of water into your pan. So if you ever had a situation where your fish did not brown or your chicken did not brown, it was just way too much in there at one time. So for this, I'm going to actually take it and I split it into two pieces. Now, the reason I did that was because I wanted to show two different ways of actually doing it. On one of them, I'm going to actually make small little slits into it. Just 3 little slits into the skin itself. So 1, 2, there we go. So the first one, I'm actually going to put flesh side down first. With this other one, I'm going to put skin side down first. And the reason I did that was for the simple fact that depending on how you're going to present it is what side is going to go down first. So for the one that you see, the flesh side is down, we're going to present it with the flesh side up. The one with the skin side down first, we're going to present it with the skin side up. I'm actually going to use a fish spatula in this situation. If you haven't seen one of these, you can find these at Walmart for maybe like anywhere between $2 to $5. Get you one. It's a fish spatula. The thing is, these are made for fish in general and for everything with seafood. You see how it has that little hump in it right here. It's so when you actually have it, when you're trying to flip the fish, instead of flipping it like this, you actually rub it like this. I'm going to show you on here. So that way the fish actually just slides on here. And then all you have to do is just flip it over. Works great on the grill. You see that white coming out right there? That's how it's letting you know that it's cooking and it's almost time to flip over. If it was sticking to the pan, it wasn't ready. The food will let you know when it's ready to actually be flipped. So, guys, it was easy to flip like that. Same, this is what I was saying. Slide it off like that. Once again, I'm going to show you here. Just got to slide right on there. Flip it over. Now you see those little slits? Adding those slips, for one, is going to give it a nice little presentation. but two, it's gonna actually keep it from actually swelling up into itself. The best way I can tell you is, if you never have done anything like this, you know how a lot of times with bologna, I know everybody's had bologna in their life. You don't put that little slit in it, what happens? It bubbles up, right? So in this sense, when we put a slit in it, it allows it to keep everything flat instead of as soon as I add it on, it's gonna bubble up and it's gonna stick up. So we're looking good here. This fish here shouldn't take no more than about a good 3 to 4 minutes. About 2.5 on each side, depending on the thickness of the fish. Like, this is done. We're done with this. This one might have another 1.5 minutes or so, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn it off. One thing we always have to remember is the temperature's going to go up before it goes down. So with the pan off, it's still going to cook up some. So what we're going to do from there, we're going to take our wilted greens and mushrooms. Pile it up. Uh-oh. We're going to take our fish that we was actually doing skin side up just for presentation. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take a splash of that leftover lemon juice that we had. If you just had a regular lemon, you could just squeeze a little bit on top. A little bit of olive oil. I've already taken some same parsley here. If you have to do chopped parsley, just a little quick little thing, always use curly parsley. It comes out a lot better, in my opinion, than using Italian parsley. I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of that there. And just because we had some of that dill, which will give it a fresh bite for springtime, just going to add a little bit right there. All right. And that there is your herb fish with wilted greens and mushrooms. All right. So now, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to crank this back up. These are the extra mushrooms and onions that I had earlier, right? Now, we eat pretty light over here, but what I had was some extra brown rice and quinoa. Okay, so we're gonna do the same idea again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut it here. Let's save that. Turn off this little bit of fish here. Boom. same idea. All I did was added the onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, splash with a little bit of white wine, lemon juice. All right, that's what we get. All right, take some of the same kale. A little bit of the herbs. Just breaking up some of this fish, because now what we did was we actually just made a little bit of a little small little decollete rice bowl. Just like that. Everybody still with me? Now, what we're gonna do is take a little bit more of this kale. Same little kale that's left in here. See if we can make this happen. Had a little bit of purple cabbage that we still had left over. A little bit of carrots. Just the rest of the little kale that's left in there. And the thing is, all I wanted to do was just heat up the carrots and the purple cabbage just a tad bit, just to take the cold off of it. I did not want to cook it down for the simple fact I want that crunch. I want that bite with this. Now we have a look like a little bit of a stir fry. And what we can do with this is, I'm gonna take some of that lemon juice now. Splash of the lemon juice. Some of the olive oil. A little bit of honey just for sweetness. Pinch of salt. Pinch of peppers. And a little bit of herbs, fresh herbs. And what we have here is a little herb vinaigrette. That we can add to any of these. So We have your basic or your herb fish with wilted mushrooms. Took that same fish, broke it down a little bit, added a little bit of rice, or we used a brown rice quinoa. Broken down the fish, added some the same vegetables, made like a rice bowl. From that, we have like a stir fry here. All we did was add a little bit of carrots and purple cabbage to it. So it's different variations, just depending on you, on how you like it. Just to show you that there's other ways of making the same meal and just flipping it a little bit to make a whole new meal for the next day. Y'all have any questions about anything? Yes, no, maybe so. Let's see. Ashley, any questions?
No questions, just people are eating theirs now. They're enjoying it.
Once again, like I was saying, like recipes are always going to be a blueprint to whatever you're making. So a lot of times you would see it on TV or you'll see it in a book and they make it a certain type of way and you try to follow it step by step and it's like it just doesn't give me that same wow effect that they made it seem like for TV or in a book. Remember, TV is entertainment, so it's always going to be better. I actually want to make a show where I mess up food just so y'all can see real life happening where it's like, no, this is not good. What we need to do is this, this, and this. But I want to also show different ways of just making food that I have picky kids at home that I can show these three things to our kids and each one will want something different because it's just all on the way it's presented and the appeal to them. So that's why I just want to make y'all know that it's like if you have kids at home, grandkids at home, or a picky husband or a picky wife, just taking that same ingredients and just flipping it up just a little bit, and you got a whole new meal for them.
There is one comment. Have you tried this with salmon?
I try to stay away from salmon. I'm over salmon, but yes, it will work great with it will work great with salmon as well. If you're gonna get salmon, get wild salmon just because it's better, and the omega threes are better in it. But yes, any fish will actually work well with this. Any flaky fish will work well with this. Like it says in the recipe, cod works well, sole works well, even halibut, sea bass, anything will work well with this salad. I mean, with this dish. And the thing is, with it having no grains and no starch with it, you get more of a spring feel with it. Adding grains to it, you can flip it into a fall or a winter just so it's more hearty. You can actually change the rice that was in the stir fry, add a little bit of pasta, and now you have a pasta dish or a stir fry like a lo mein or something like that, just made with fish. You can sub out the fish altogether and use shrimp. Um, Even chicken. I mean, it's so versatile that it could go with about anything as long as you're fine with mushrooms and tomatoes. You can sub out the kale for spinach if you don't like kale. Um, or hey, you don't even have to cook it. You can actually eat it raw and make it into a salad. That's why I was showing you how to make that simple little vinaigrette. All it is just acid, so you can have the vinegar or a citrus, and then oil. Whip it up, add a little bit of salt and pepper. You're good to go.
Well, I think that's all the questions. Thank you so much, Chef Reggie. It was a nice presentation. Loved it. And thank you everyone for joining us. Wait, someone's typing. Oh, never mind.
There's nothing.
Yeah, someone is typing. Okay. They're just saying thank you. The ingredients and the recipe will be on our YouTube channel. The video is recorded and I will post it later today. It'll be posted on our YouTube. You can see the ingredients and recipe there. But yes, if anyone else has any questions or any comments. Thank you. Everyone's just saying thank you and they appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. That's it for today. Join us next month for our next Wow Wednesday. We still don't know who we're gonna bring, but just keep track of our social medias or our emails and you'll find out. But thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day.